Just when we thought maybe this whole FCC fight was over with ABC, now we have a new CEO at Disney. It looks like Josh D'Amaro is doubling down on going against the FCC. According to The Wrap, Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro says ABC is not going to be told how to run its businesses amid FCC fight.
Except there's FCC guidelines for a reason. Now, do I think that they're overreaching on some of the stuff? Yes. But do I think it's smart for him to be like, you're not going to tell us how to do our job with the regulations that everybody else has to follow? No, I don't think it's a good idea.
No, especially after what happened with Reedy Creek. I remember we had so many of our detractors saying that there's no way Disney would lose Reedy Creek. And they did, because they FA'd and then they FO'd. And this could happen with the ABC too. They're already cutting back on The View. They're cutting the budget on The View.
Yeah, I think telling them no more pay raises or anything. Yeah.
Right. So I think they're kind of internally probably telling them to rein it in, but externally they're trying to put on a show because they want to send the right signals that we're Disney and we're not going to be bullied by the Trumpers and the MAGAs and whatever.
Well, I just think it's funny that they're going to stand up for what we believe is journalistic integrity. Notice they didn't say what is journalistic integrity, what we believe is journalistic integrity, because they got caught by Project Veritas before by saying some of the stuff that was going down behind the scenes. You had Iger going into the newsroom meeting to try to tell ABC News what to cover because of Trump's tariffs. Yeah. I don't think journalistic integrity has been something that they're very concerned about. Just saying.
No, this has been an ongoing thing. And look, I mean, it's no secret Trump does not like ABC News.
I think in some ways, they are taking it too far in some ways. And I do think that they're being ridiculous on the other side, too. I think the truth lies in the middle. But don't say it's because of journalistic integrity. And don't go, they're not going to tell me how to run my business when they're the ones that set the rules to see how you can run news networks to make it fair.
Right,
I'm just saying, not a smart move, Josh.
Let's take a look at what Josh D'Amaro has to say. It's a big weekend for Disney. It's D23, so everything he says is going to be scrutinized extra closely this weekend. And I noticed that Bob Chapek waited until this weekend to drop news about his book.
Yeah.
Because he knew that was the news cycle, so it's going to be really interesting, too. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
If you would like another woohoo, go out to Kickstarter, check out Geeky Sparkles retro Halloween pins. We're offering them again, and we've added a new neon pin. And these turned out great last year. We sold out, and people have been asking for these. We did another Halloween run, but they're like, hey, what about the original pins? Can we get those? So we're offering those as well. Check it out on Kickstarter for a limited time. Thank you very much for the support. So this is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
There you go, guys. This is coming from The Wrap. Again, Disney CEO says ABC is not going to be told what to do. We're going to stand up to what we believe is journalistic integrity. And he went to CNBC for that. He's got, I like Josh D'Amaro, but my God, those eyes. He's just like, he stares into your soul. He's just like.
That is not a very good picture of Josh D'Amaro, no.
The power of Mickey compels you. Disney CEO Josh D'Amaro doubled down the company's opposition to the FCC's investigations into ABC's broadcast licenses and The View on Friday, arguing that the network wouldn't be pushed around by the regulator.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but there's a regulator for a reason. And yes, if you want to broadcast, you need to be pushed around somewhat by regulations, as everybody else has to do too.
Our position on this is clear. We're principled on this. We're going to stand up to what we believe is journalistic integrity, and we're not going to be told how to run that side of our business, he said in a CNBC interview during D23. Our filings, I think, speak for that. I like what we do. We tell incredible stories. It's not about
stories. Isn't the news. Journalism isn't stories. Journalism's the truth. Stories are fiction. Unless they're like nonfiction, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, the news is fiction now. I think it just depends on what flavor of fiction you want.
We're the most storied company. We're all about stories. And they're always going about the Disney stories. And I'm like, well, is that what you're trying to argue the news is too?
I think we do it well. We do it around the world. And we're going to stay committed to that. His comments come as the network has accused the regulator of trying to punish and censor the network over its journalism in violation of the First Amendment. It has also called for a dismissal of the untimely and unwarranted license renewal review. Yeah, they basically pushed up the license renewal.
Which I don't agree with. I don't think that was right. But do I think The View has overstepped what they were meant to be? Yes. The View has gone out of its way. They were using it as basically a political platform for people they liked. People that were on the right were coming out in droves saying that they were not allowed to be on the show. Now they tried to put some people on there now, but they were like, oh, they're afraid to come on. They're like, no, we've been trying to come on and you won't let us. The View definitely has a leaning. They definitely have let candidates come on and promote themselves, which by FCC regulations isn't okay because they don't have the qualifications for that. And they should be requalified if they're going to keep doing that. And that I do agree with. But do I think they should have put their license up for renewal early? No. I think that they're trying to leverage some stuff politically. And I don't think that's right either. But Disney saying, oh, we're all about journalistic integrity is also a load of shit.
Yeah. So FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has argued the review stems from the agency's investigation into Disney's DEI policies, but has also said the network's decision to limit coverage of a primetime address by Trump could factor into the proceeding. We'll take a look at that here in a second. The final replies in the FCC's license renewal proceeding closed on August 5th, with Disney and ABC receiving thousands of public comments of support. Carr told reporters last month the agency would look at the record and decide based on the evidence before us what the next step will be, but did not set a specific timeline for a decision. We're watching you. We're always watching. Mm-hmm.
The View did, it's listed as bona fide. It's like it was using it as political platform. And it really sincerely was. And that was against what it should have been doing. And in the meantime, they've gotten hit by cost cutting. One person's denied a pay raise. They've all been told they can't get more money, and they cut their wardrobe budgets.
Did they cut the they were going to do podcasts or something on the weekends? I think they cut that. I don't know if
they cut that, but I know they were cutting a bunch of stuff for The View. So View's getting stuff slashed. So while he's publicly saying this about The View, behind the scenes, they're slashing stuff. Yeah,
I think that The View's not doing that great overall, but I think that they're behind the scenes. They're being told to watch what they say. Because remember, Sunny had to read the prepared statement from the lawyer. Mm-hmm. She said some dumb shit. But The View has strayed very far from what it was. And that's what people aren't understanding. If you never watched it back in the 90s and the 2000s when Barbara Walters was still around and she actually was a real journalist, she kept these guys in check, and mostly it was kibitzing about just day-to-day stuff.
Well, there was a lot of The View where the whole point was they tried to have different people with different viewpoints discussing things in a polite manner, and that was the point. And it went from that to being very, 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 very extreme to one side, and then they started using it as a way to promote political candidates and to slam on Trump every other day. I mean, you take Trump out of the vocabulary, they have nothing to talk about. It's kind of funny, but you said about them ABC getting in trouble, and they had that George Stephanopoulos got in trouble too.
Yes,
because of his comments that were not, because they were putting their thoughts as fact.
Stephanopoulos cost them, I think it was it like $15 million or something like that they had to pay out?
It was a lot, and then they renewed his contract right after. People are like, haha, they're renewing it. I'm like, haha, they're putting language in to control what he says, and we don't know what the payout was on the new contract.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think they're putting on this is just my personal opinion. I think they're putting on a front publicly that we'll be the ones who decide that. So that basically DeMauro wins this either way, because he's not gonna be like, oh, I hate Trump. He's gonna be like, well, we're gonna adhere to journalistic integrity and nobody's gonna tell us what to do, as they're slashing budgets, telling their people what they can and can't say. But really it comes down, I think, to the advertisers. I think they're afraid of losing advertisers. And that's actually what got Jimmy Kimmel canceled. They thought that it was, Trump demanding that Kimmel gets canceled, and actually, ABC came out and said no. The Trump administration didn't put any pressure on us.
Dana Walden said that the Trump administration didn't do it.
Yeah, who's very pro. She was very pro Kamala Harris. Weren't they friends? I thought they were friends.
Yeah, like friends. She's very far left. Yes.
So, for her to come out and say that, when I'm sure she'd love to throw Trump under the bus, she's like, no, that's not actually what happened. But that was the narrative they ran with to get public support. What happened was the advertisers pulled, and some of the local stations decided they weren't going to air Jimmy Kimmel. Now, this isn't like, everybody's like, this is shocking, this has never happened. I'm like, actually, local broadcasters have always been able to not air things that they didn't want to within reason. Because I remember when the Last Temptation of Christ came out.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? That was
I
controversial.
do remember that, yes.
Yeah, at one point in time, that movie was very, very controversial. And now people are like, I don't even remember that movie. The Last Temptation of Christ, it was going to air on, I think it was ABC or one of the stations. It was an edited version, but I remember a couple of the stations having like black screens because they wouldn't air the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know they were mad about them not running Trump's speech, but they did that to Biden before, too. ABC did it, too. Other networks did it. And they were allowed to pick and choose. No one tried to get their license revoked over that.
Yeah. If it's not a State of the Union, I mean, look, do I think they deliberately didn't run it because they're like, we don't have to, we're not gonna? Yeah. But there were other networks that didn't run it either. And like you said, Biden didn't get run every time he had a speech either. Anytime they think that it's not going to benefit us to run this. The State of the Union, something like that, they're going to run, obviously, because that's, major thing.
But back to like journalistic integrity. I want to talk about that for a minute because they're like, oh, our journalistic integrity. First of all, I don't think anybody thinks The View is a bastion of journalistic integrity, first of all. Secondly, Project Veritas had caught an ABC News anchor who then got fired, David Wright. I remember this back in 2020. He caught him and he was like saying stuff. He was telling them, he himself is a socialist, but that he's saying that the way that they pick and choose what they run. So, yeah, back like in 2020, Project Veritas got David Wright on camera talking about stuff that was going on. And he was criticizing, how they report political stuff. He said the bosses did not see an upside to holding power accountable. He said about him being a socialist. But I remember he was talking about how they basically are going to go with the angle it's going to get the most attention, and they're definitely picking sides. And it became a whole big ordeal, and they had to issue a statement and fire him because he, without, in a candid discussion, was basically saying the quiet part out loud, which everybody kind of knew already, that there was definitely a bias. So that was the first part of that. The other part I want to mention when we're talking about political biases is Bob Iger, because Bob Iger, and we did a video on this last year, he busted into the ABC closed doors staff meeting for the news and was demanding that they do pieces covering the Trump problem with the tariffs. Yeah, the Wrap had a source that said that he was trying to sound the alarm on President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs and the impact they may have on the company and any other American company at large. He was especially concerned about the cruise lines. They said staff described him as continuously jumping into the conversation to share his thoughts and offer more of what Darcy said were unfiltered views. He expressed concern for Disney's cruise line, particularly the new ships that rely on construction, and the costs are too high. And he basically wanted them to do more to slam on Trump's tariffs in the news to try to sway opinion because he was worried it was going to hurt the Disney company. But they own ABC News, but they aren't supposed to be doing this.
No, technically you're not.
Journalistic integrity.
Well, yeah, but they also use, look, let's be real here. They use ABC News to promote Disney theme parks and movies.
Good Morning America. They use that. That's literally their PR arm for all their theme park shit.
Honestly,
but, journalistic integrity.
If you want pure journalistic integrity, you need to have a news outlet that doesn't have any connections to anything they might cover, like, media or, whatever it is, products, consumer products, whatever. You need to have them just be solely a media outlet. The problem is nobody can afford to be just a media outlet because they're all subsidized by other companies, bigger companies. Mm-hmm. So that's ABC News on its own. If ABC News became the ABC News company and it was just ABC News, they wouldn't survive.
And Iger wouldn't get rid of ABC News for anything because he came from there. So he's got pull over there. So he was he told them to connect the dots for readers and viewers to, see how bad it was about the tariffs and stuff, which people were mad about anyway. But the fact is he went into the ABC News closed door editorial meeting to try to tell them what to write about to benefit himself. But, journalistic integrity of ABC, and no one's going to tell them how to do their job, even the regulators who control what goes too far. It's mostly politically related.
Yeah, it is. And it's all, at the end of the day, it's all business. It's all about business. It's all, the politics are window dressing. It's a reason, a means to an end, but it's all about what is going to benefit my business better. Do I promote this candidate because they're more pro Hollywood and it's going to benefit my business better? Do I promote this one because meanwhile, after this, happens. A couple years later, he crawls into bed with Trump's like son-in-law.
Yeah.
Buys the
No,
Lakers,
it's not a son-in-law. It's his son-in-law's brother.
Brother twice removed, whatever. One of the Cushers, which,
It's his daughter. So it's his son-in-law's brother.
Yeah. So anyway, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's all pillow talk. It's all a show. It's all about doing whatever you have to do to make your own business, your own entity more money. And that's all the people they support. The only reason they back them, it's not because they actually believe it. It's because they think there will be a business benefit. The reason they went all in on DEI is because they thought there would be a business benefit. It wasn't about...
They were giving companies kickbacks.
They would get better rates on loans. They would have more access to venture capital. They honestly thought there was an audience out there waiting to buy their product, and then they realized that a lot of these people were broke-ass socialists and they weren't going to buy anything. Mm-hmm. And now they're trying to walk it back. So it's like it's all business. It's all about business. That's what's behind all of this. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.